Also want to thank everybody for showing up, our clients, sponsors, volunteers, our local law enforcement. Thank you so much for everything you do. You are just so important to us in our community. And through your actions, you show the community that you truly care about our community and our disabled people in the community. Who are we? Independence for the Blind was established in 1993, but in some form or another, we were always in and around, whether it's Pensacola State College, at the time Pensacola Junior College. So I think we've been married. Where you at?
I'm right.
How long you been here for?
39 years.
39 years. So we've been serving the community for 39 years. But we formed as Independence for Blind in 1993. Our mission is to empower the blind and visually impaired people of Northwest Florida to achieve maximum independence. Hence our name, Independence for Blind. We help blind people, and we are very successful at taking personal and visual impairment blindness and training them to be independent, stay in the workforce, or enter the workforce. And I'm going to get more into that as we go through the program. What is blindness? There's a lot of confusion to this. A lot of people think blindness is you have the cane and glasses. And that's the furthest from the truth. Most people, about 80% of them, go blind later in age. There's only very few people born totally blind. There's only about 7 or 8% of the blind and visually impaired community that have no sight whatsoever. Blindness is legally defined as having a visual acuity of 2200 or less. What does that mean? Someone like myself with 20/20 vision, what I can see at 200 feet, a legally blind person can only see at 20 feet. There's another part of this. Losing your visual field of 20 degrees or less. Again, what does that mean? Imagine putting a piece of paper in your face and you can only see out the side, or looking through a pinhole, or spider webs. So blindness can happen to anyone. We have people with accidents. We have people born with certain diseases. And as our population ages, we have macular degeneration. Most of our clients are 55 or older. They just start losing sight. And so we're here to help them. Some of the programs we have 5 programs in Independence for the Blind. Let's go to the side here. Is anybody hearing a hum from that?
No.
Actually, I can speak loud enough. Let me.
Okay. Stand back. Yeah, stand back. That works good.
We have 5 programs in Independence for Blind. One of our programs is Older Blind. That's for people 55 and older whose goal is to be independent. They're not looking to work. They want to be able to get around their home, their communities, keep people out of nursing homes, and we're very successful in that. And then Larry. Apologize. Sorry about that. I know your ringtone. Then we have our adult program, and again, our older blind program is most of our clients because a lot of people probably familiar with someone with macular degeneration and they start losing their sight. And we have our adult program, which is from ages 18 to 54, and it's very similar to the older blind. They have no desire to work or they can't work. They want to be independent, once again, in their home, community, transportation, traveling. And then we have our vocational rehabilitation program from ages 18 to no age limit. I remember when I used to instruct, I was teaching someone in their late 70s to type and write for Pensacola News Journal. If someone is willing to work and willing to work, we're here to help them. And John O'Dillon, who's our Director of Vocational Rehabilitation, is very successful with that. So then we have our children's program. And the great thing about children's program, for I don't know how many years, I've been with Independence for Blind for 12 years, and it was started about 3 years ago. The state of Florida had no program for children ages 5 to 13. The only education they get in blindness was at school, which is very limited because there are only so many TVIs in the school system. They're mainly there to help with the schoolwork and so on.
What's a TBI?
Oh, TVI is Teacher for the Visually Impaired. Escambia County has, well, how many, at least 3 or 4, probably? No?
4.
About 4. So you got 4 teachers for the visually impaired running the entire Escambia County school system. It's not enough. That's where we come in. Agencies like ours went to the state and we just lobbied and lobbied for this program, and they started funding the children's program. That's ages from 5 to 13. Very successful program, and the great thing about that is we can start training them at an earlier age. So when they do enter other programs, they're already ahead of the game, and we're keeping people level with their grades. Then we have our transition program. I like to refer to this as our flagship program. It's for teenagers 14 to 22. Why 22? Because the school system pretty much boots you out at 22. We are one of the most successful people, our successful resource providers in the state of Florida. What is it? About 94% of our students who enter the program and successfully complete the program, stay in the program, either enter higher education or directly into the workforce. You don't get a lot of that even with sighted teenagers with no disabilities. We're very proud of that program. We do overnights every month. We're the first ones in the state of Florida to provide overnights. Now it's a requirement during the summer for all agencies like ours in the state of Florida to provide this service. And the reason we did that, we cover over 7,500 square miles. We have the largest district in the state of Florida. And kind of give you an idea of how large we are, we cover the 10 counties northwest Florida, the entire central time zone. So all the way from the Alabama state line to the west, to the Apalachicola River on the east, Port St. Joe, Mexico Beach, to the south, to Mariana, Tueg, all the way to the Georgia, Alabama line. It's a long way. Sometimes our instructors drive 3.5 hours one way just to serve a client. And the services are free of charge. The clients pay nothing. Now, we also work in conjunction with the Division of Blind Services. Without them, we wouldn't be able to serve these clients. They help locate the clients, they help, with special, and Denise here was the director at one time, right?
No, I'm yes.
District administrator, yeah, I'm sorry. We work in conjunction, we are the service providers, and they help locate the clients, they help make sure the clients have their legal blindness, they help with aids such as technology, whatever they need, help with schooling, whatever they can do and we can do to get the clients off of Social Security, out of nursing home. That's what we're here for. And again, once again, we're very successful with that. Oh, one more thing I'd like to add before we get to the next part is we are the only organization in Northwest Florida that provides those services. A lot of people can't say that. There is no other nonprofit agency in the 10 counties of Northwest Florida that provides the services we do. That's why it's so important for us to continue providing these services. Without us, the blind and visually impaired don't have an option really. So, and this is also our annual meeting for our board. So if I get our board members to stand up and be recognized, please. Okay, this is Artie Graham, she's the president of our board. Glenn Barbie, he's the treasurer. And then Dick Melville in the very back, who is on the board, and he used to also be the district administrator for Division of Blind Services.
I'm still alive.
And once again, I want to thank the police for showing up and the law enforcement. How many clients have we served? And what was the last year like? We served 261 clients from over the last year. It may not seem like a lot, but remember, we're not only affecting the clients, we're affecting their family members and the community. The more we can help a client to be independent, the less of a burden they are to their family, their friends, and also the community. If we can get someone out there working and earning income, that means they're not on Social Security disability. They're actually contributing to society, and they feel great about it. And we also provided over 6,700 face-to-face hours. Once again, we only have 5 full-time instructors and 2 part-time instructors, and we cover 7,500 square miles. That is an amazing amount of hours provided for training our clients. So I'd like to introduce Krista with the Pensacola PD. If you want to come up here.
Yes, sir.
Probably stand back a little bit, a lot of scares you.
Good morning. Thank you all for being here, and thank you to the Independents for the Blind to having the Pensacola Police Department here. I'm basically here to re-educate and remind on the Florida State statute that the police department and sheriff's office, highway patrol enforces for blind pedestrians to cross the street. It's 316.1301. And I'm gonna get real technical and just read from it because there are specific things in there that require for the blind citizen to have, to cross the street for us to enforce the statute. For 316.130, parentheses 1, it is unlawful for any person unless totally or partially blind or otherwise incapacitated while on any public street or highway to carry in a raised or extended position a cane or walking stick, which is white in color or white tipped with red. A person who is convicted of a violation of this subsection is guilty of a misdemeanor of the second degree. Parentheses 2 of the same statute, whenever a pedestrian is crossing or attempting to cross a public street or highway, guided by a dog guide or carrying in a raised or extended position a cane or walking stick, which is white in color or white tipped with red, the driver of every vehicle approaching the intersection or place where the pedestrian is attempting to cross shall bring his or her vehicle to a full stop before arriving at such intersection or place of crossing, and before proceeding shall take such precautions as may be necessary to avoid injuring such pedestrian. A person who is convicted of a violation of this subsection is guilty of a moving violation, punishable as provided in chapter 318. So what does that all mean? Yes, they'll get a ticket, and or the parentheses 1 that I read first. It is an arrestable offense. They can get a ticket to show up to court, or they can actually take a ride and be arrested for doing that. I would like to share a story with you that one of our traffic officers shared with me. A couple years ago, there was a citizen up on the north end of the city that was blind and walked everywhere, do his shopping, and concerned citizens called in about this citizen walking because the traffic was not stopping or even really paying attention to the pedestrian. And our traffic unit went up there and just targeted the enforcement to re-educate that area of the citizen that was there for their safety. So what I'm saying is, if you live in the city and you seem to have a problem, or you know a citizen that is having a problem with this, we have no problem to come out and do some targeted enforcement. So, thank you.
Thank you.
And Katrina, our orientation mobility instructor, is going to talk more about the white cane. Oh, yeah, we lost about that. This is a standard white cane. You notice the white tip, red. The white is highly reflective. We can go and teach someone to navigate around a community, walk from an apartment complex to Publix to Walmart, but if the community is not helping by stopping or working with our clients, it's hard for them. And all it takes is one accident or one close call, and they're going to get right back into their shell and be scared to get back out there. So it's important for our community to be aware of this. Next, I want to have Katrina Wendell, who's our Director of Children's Services and Orientation Mobility Instructor. She, along with Lisa Wright, teach this skill. So I'll let you talk about that since you're the expert and certified.
Well, I think you did a very good job. Good morning. It is so wonderful to see everyone here on a rainy yet much needed rain. Kind of rainy day. I'm glad it's not going to totally rain forever, but maybe this afternoon. Day to help us celebrate. It might seem strange to hold an event with a walk around the block at the end on such a day, but as Roger Miller, a singer-songwriter, once said, some people walk in the rain, others just get wet. I'm glad we could come together and celebrate all kinds of those of us who like to walk in the rain and those who just like to get wet. Really though, we are here to celebrate independence. Independence of all types. October is White Cane Awareness Month, and we are commemorating Cane and Able Day by walking around the block. We are recognizing all levels of independence, from the beginner cane traveler, guide dog users, and those who use low vision aids, and even those who choose to use no aids at all. All levels of abilities. Congratulations. As far back as the 1930s, cities and states have recognized the needs for ordinances for people who are blind or visually impaired. During the 1930s, the Lions clubs actually supported people who were blind and visually impaired for safer street crossings by painting their sticks white and later adding red tips for better visibility for traffic. The sticks were shorter and were held in front as they crossed the street. Probably not as safe. After World War II, Dr. Richard Hoover developed the long cane, or the Hoover method of cane travel, which developed into modern orientation and mobility, or O&M as we know it. Orientation, where we are in our place in space. Mobility, how to safely get from one place to the next. The history of White Cane Awareness Day came about in 1964. Congress passed a joint resolution which enacted the public laws, which allowed for other states to enact their own private laws, which the state of Florida did. And the state of Florida actually made it illegal for people to impersonate someone who is blind and visually impaired. And not all states made that addendum, so I'm very proud to be a citizen of the state of Florida. President Lyndon Johnson was the first president to sign a proclamation which recognized October 15th each year as White Cane Safety Day. And every year after that, each president on October 15th signs a special proclamation recognizing October 15th as White Cane Safety Day. In 2011, President Barack Obama went a step further and also named it Blind Americans Equality Day. I want to leave you with a quote from someone I consider a strong woman. She was born in 1880, before women even had the right to vote. Women were awarded that privilege in her lifetime, as she passed away in 1968 at the age of 87. This woman was elegant, educated, an author, and an advocate for those with disabilities. She said, "You cannot touch the clouds, you know, but you feel the rain, and you know how glad the flowers and the earth are to have it after a hot day. You cannot touch love either, but you feel the sweetness that pours into everything." That person was Helen Keller. In a moment, we will be heading out the door and lining up, taking a left, and having a police escort, which is very thankful. We're very thankful for, because we're on a very busy street now. And we're just gonna walk around the block. Any kind of abilities to celebrate the fact that we are celebrating White Cane Awareness Day. We're celebrating White Cane Awareness Month, and we're celebrating all kinds of abilities. Thank you. Now I'd like to introduce the real star of the show, Denise Juarez. She is one of our clients who've been here for over a year. She started out I suppose she can tell you more about that, but she started out as one of our clients. She applied, she got her services, and she's comes to classes on a regular basis. She attends faithfully. She's worked the program, worked it well, and she's even does volunteer hours here now, and we're very proud of her. So we're gonna ask Denise to come and say a few words.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you. This is new to me, so bear with me. My name is Denise, and I am a client here in Independence for the Blind. And I'd like to share my story a little bit with you, if I may. I'm 53 years old, and about a year and a half ago, I lost my vision. Prior to that, I was working full-time since the age of 18, self-reliant, living on my own, an independent woman. That kind of came to an end in April last year. Through a series of problems with my eyes, which I had thought I had overcome, it kind of came to a head. One night, I started losing my vision. The next morning, my sister ran me to my eye doctor, where I heard stuff like stroke in the eye, irreversible damage, permanent vision loss. Nothing we can do for you. So sorry. I went home and sat on my couch and wondered, what am I going to do now? How am I going to do this? Am I going to be sitting on my couch listening to the world go by outside my window? Too scared to walk out my front door and become a burden. So after a few months of being overwhelmed at my house with just the basic everyday details of life, so overwhelming that it was exhausting, I came here to Independence for the Blind. And I was asked, would you like to join the workforce again? Get a job? And outside I said, yes. Inside I was thinking, are you crazy? I can't even take care of myself. But what have I got to lose? Since coming here, I have learned how to keep my house clean and maintain it, how to cook on my own, and not just stick it in the microwave cooking. I'm talking from scratch, healthy, nutritious, hot meals. I've learned how to operate my phone, because as soon as you tell your friends you're blind, they want to start texting you. So now I can get my texts and reply to them, get my emails, get my voicemails, and figure out why my phone has stopped ringing and turn it back on. The first day I came here, I was given my white cane. Yeah, that one. And I had a death grip on the handle. I was stiff as a board, and I was shoveling my feet, scared to take 2 steps in front of me. Since then, I've learned to cross streets, go into a building I've never been into, orientate myself, go up and down stairs, use elevators, go up and down escalators by myself. I can walk into a store, get what I came for, pay for it, and return. I went from the first day coming here, scared to get into the Independence for the Blind's van, to now I'm using community transportation and getting around on my own. That's a big step. I learned here that I lost my vision, I didn't lose my intelligence, didn't lose my personality, didn't lose my will to socialize, my need to socialize. But the most important thing I have learned And that also, I've also learned now that they're not so crazy. I will be able to get a job. I'm getting there. The most important I've learned here, though, is that I can get my independence back. And that is not a small thing. With your independence, your self-esteem, your confidence, your self-worth is tied into it. It's very valuable. I have learned to come here and they have helped me regain my independence. And I thank them so much. They don't realize how valuable it is until you lose it. And I would like to thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Denise. Before we go on the walk, I want to talk about a few more things real quick since we're ahead of schedule. Some of the services we provide here at Independence for Blind, clearly the orientation mobility, which is the white cane skills, navigation skills. We also provide daily living skills, which teaches them to cook, clean, get organized. You're probably wondering how a blind person can get dressed, have the same color socks, match clothes. That's what our staff here are very good at. And they're certified staff, well-educated staff, and most of our staff has been here. Some of our senior instructors have been doing this for over 20 years, many of them. And then another service we provide is technology. And I used to be a technology instructor when I first started here. And in today's world, you cannot, even with perfect sight, even highly educated, if you do not know technology, it's going to be hard getting a job. By the time they finish the program here, whether it's PCs, Macs, iPhones, iPads, anything with technology we can train them on, most of our students are more proficient than your average person in the workforce because we start teaching them the correct way. The computer is not designed to use with a mouse. You don't have to use a mouse with it. Then we have job readiness, which we teach them resume writing skills, work ethics, how to search for a job, how to apply for a job, and how to act on a job. Believe it or not, that's a lost skill, it seems like these days. And then we have communication skills, which is Braille. And you're probably thinking, most people, we teach a lot of Braille. We actually don't. Imagine learning a second language in your 40s or 50s. It's hard. Imagine diabetic, most of our clients, a lot of our clients are blind because of diabetes. Well, you start losing your fingertips, feeling your fingertips, so it's so hard to read Braille. But it is needed because you go in the elevators, next time you're in the elevator, pay attention. They still need to be able to pick the floor. So we do a lot of services. We can pretty much teach a blind person anything they want. I remember even when I was teaching a person at West Florida, University of West Florida, C++ programming. So again, it depends on what they want to do. Before we go on the walk, I want to also thank our staff. Without our staff, we couldn't get this done. So if I get everybody to rise, that's here. A whole lot of y'all name. And once again, thank you to law enforcement, Escambia County Sheriff's Office, Pensacola Police Department. You guys are so appreciated in our community. Katrina, would you like to, we're gonna go for the walk, and as you leave here, to the right, at the table, there are blindfolds. If you really feel like being brave, remember, the streets are safe, law enforcement's blocked, we will have people help guide you. But if you have not done this, walk in their shoes. It is definitely, opens your mind to how difficult it is and how they live through it. You don't have to, but if you want to, there's blindfolds. And what we're going to do, I'll let Katrina explain. We're going to go out the door. We're going to go to the left and walk up Davis onto Tahar, and then we're going to come down MLK, and then we're going to come back to our back. It's not a far walk. So, Katrina, you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. There is outside, for anybody who wants bottled water, we do have a cooler with bottled water if you want to grab one on the way out. Luckily the rain and the heat's held off, so Katrina, lead the way.
Okay.